AITA for breaking up with my boyfriend over his girl best friends forever. I, 22F, met my boyfriend, 28 meters, Luke, on a cruise a little over a year ago. We reside in different states, but hit it off so much that he came out to see me a month after we had met. It truly was magical, from meeting on a cruise to being swept away in my home state when he came to visit. We decided to do long distance. He flew me out occasionally to see him from then on. Here comes the problem. His best friend, Amanda, 26F, they met 4 years ago, while working together on a work trip, when Luke was still in a prior relationship. This is when they started really hitting it off. After Luke's relationship ended, he dated Amanda for about 2 months before they decided they would be better friends. All of this being before we met. I didn't have much of a problem until a few warning signs later on. Early on in the relationship, every time he spoke about her, he couldn't help but emphasize how much he loved her and how they understood each other. After expressing how it made me slightly uncomfortable, he simply did not speak about her, and if he did, he couldn't help but continue talking about how great she was 6 months into the relationship. Luke reached out to me one day, asking if Amanda could come spend the weekend with him. For context, he lives in a studio with his shower, literally being in the middle of his apartment with no doors. They wanted to spend a weekend cozied up inside, partaking in explicit activities. For reference, I am sober, and supposedly, so is she. I told him that made me uncomfortable, but he was welcome to do what he liked. I would just not be waiting when he got back. He claims he never heard from her, and she did not come. I didn't hear much from him that weekend. Whenever I questioned their intentions and the friendship he has with her, he would get frustrated and defensive, explaining to me how they had a pact to always be there for one another and would always be best friends. When I suggested she visit but stay in a hotel, he got upset and told me how he would never put his best friend in a hotel. His behavior toward Amanda had always seemed dodgy and weird, although he would tell me they barely talked, and I had never even met or spoken to her yet. Fast forward to last week, Luke revealed to me last week that the real reason their relationship ended was because she couldn't trust him. Luke cheated on his ex, GF, with her, and then they decided they would be better friends. Luke many times offered before for me to get in contact with Amanda to ease my mind, so this time I inquired. After 24 hours had passed, Luke gave me her information. I asked about their relationship and when the last time they saw each other was. She told me about how they were trauma bonded and talked constantly about anything and everything. She told me how my boyfriend is her biggest supporter. Luke didn't even attend my college graduation or B-Day, and how she hadn't seen him since he and I have been dating. When I asked her directly if she came out earlier in the year to visit him, she told me she could have, but she does not remember. I immediately ghosted my boyfriend. After 3 days, not long enough IMO, 3 ignored phone calls, and less than a dozen messages, I chose to speak to him. I explained how I refused to be any more collateral damage in the shipwreck they are inevitably going to have. He tried to convince me that I must have misinterpreted Amanda's messages, and she was probably too tired to remember that she hadn't seen him earlier that year. Amanda also lives in a state other than Luke or I. She would have had to drive several hours through multiple states to see him. I broke up with him and explained that Amanda is not his best friend, but nothing more than an ex-girlfriend. He did not accept my breakup, told me to reconsider, and that he would be reaching out to me in 1 week for a 3-way phone call with him, Amanda, and me to ease my mind.